Bharata, a sacred land where wisdom flowed with the winds and footsteps of sages, shaped its soul, has always been a beacon of eternal knowledge. Cradled in timeless traditions, it stood as the epicenter of spiritual and philosophical enlightenment. Centers like Kashi, Kanchi, Ujjain, and Melukote, revered as Jnanamantapas, preserved its profound legacy. Among these, Melukote shines as a sanctuary of Sanskrit scholarship and temple-centric education. Rooted in the Vedas and Upanishads, it became a bridge between divine wisdom and cultural heritage. Here, Sri Ramanujacharya wove the timeless teachings of Vishishtadvaita into the legacy of spiritual brilliance that continues to inspire generations. From the timeless town of Melukote in 1936 was born a legend who would become a beacon of this legacy. Sri Ubayavedantacharya, Lakshmithathacharya, a visionary who dedicated his life to collecting, preserving, and unveiling ancient manuscripts, brought forth this profound knowledge through books, academies, and scientific research, bridging the wisdom of the past with the needs of the present.
Why you should be born in India only? ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಗ್ರಾಮದಲ್ಲೋ ಒಂದು ಪಟ್ಟಣದಲ್ಲೋ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ್ರಿ. ಭಾರತ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ್ರಿ ನೀವು? ಬೇರೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಅಮೆರಿಕಾದಲ್ಲೋ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವಿಟ್ಜರ್ಲೆಂಡ್ನಲ್ಲೋ ಹುಟ್ಟಬಹುದಾಗಿತ್ತು, ಯಾತಕ್ಕೆ ಹುಟ್ಟಲಿಲ್ಲ? ಈ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕೇಳ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ.
Today, we embark on a journey to celebrate this extraordinary legacy. This is Thatharya Vaibhavam, the story of a life devoted to the preservation and propagation of Bharata's timeless wisdom. Sri Lakshmithathacharya, born into the Swayam Acharya Purusha Parampara on August 26, 1936, to father Sri Ubayavedantacharya Alvar Tirumalai Iyengar Swami and mother Srimati M.A. Singamma, destined to carry forward this divine legacy. His lineage traces back to Saint Anantacharya, a direct disciple of Sri Ramanujacharya. From his early years, Swami imbibed a deep reverence for tradition, spirituality, and knowledge, which became the foundation of his remarkable life.
I belong to the family of Ananda Alvar, who was called Anandan Pillai. He was born in Kirangur near Srirangapatna in Melnad, and I belong to that particular family.
Swami's academic journey was extraordinary. He excelled in Sanskrit and philosophy, securing multiple gold medals and accolades.
Lakshmithathacharya's father, he was referred to as Alvar Tirumalai Iyengar. He was the principal of the school. Thathacharya studied there, right? Tarka was the branch. Thathacharya himself, Lakshmithathacharya himself, attained proficiency in that particular field.
ನಮ್ಮ ತಂದೆ ಅವರು ಎಲ್ಲೇ ಸಾದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ ಓದಲಿ, ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ ಭಾಷೆ ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೊರಟೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿಂದ. ನಾನು ಅವಾಗ SLC ಓದ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಚಿಕ್ಕಪ್ಪನ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಆಮೇಲೆ 3 ವರ್ಷ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಮೇಲ್ಕೋಟೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೈಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಆವಾಗ ಅವರು ಹೈಸ್ಕೂಲಿಗೆ ಸೇರಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ರ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಬಂದರು. ಮತ್ತು 6 ವರ್ಷನೋ 7 ವರ್ಷನೋ ಬಿಟ್ಟು BA ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು.
Even though he had lot of problems in the town, but still he was so confident and strong to face any challenge.
ಮದ್ರಾಸಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಏನಾದರೂ ಒಪ್ಪಲಿಲ್ಲ. ನಮ್ಮ ತಾಯಿ ಹೇಳಿ ಇವರು ಊಟ ಮಾಡದೆ ಹತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಲಗಿರೋರು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಆ ಕಾರ್ಪಣ್ಕಾಡು ಭಾಷ್ಯಕಾರ ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಇದು ಕೇಶರಿ ಭಾಷ್ಯ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಕಾಲಕ್ಷೇಪ ಕೇಳೋ ಹಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ಕಳಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಅವ್ರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಸರಿ, ಇವರು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಪ್ಕೊಂಡು ಆ ಯತಿರಾಜ ಮಠದ ರೂಮಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ರೂಮ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದರು. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ಕೊಂಡು ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟವ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅಡುಗೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಕಾಲೇಜಿಗೆ ಹೋಗೋದು ಬರೋದು, ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಯಾಗಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆಗೂ ಹೋಗೋದು, ಸಂಗೀತಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗೋದು, ಕಾಲಕ್ಷೇಪಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗೋದು, ಈ ಥರ ಅವ್ರ ಜೀವನ ನಡೆಯಿತು. 2 ಗೋಲ್ಡ್ ಮೆಡ್ಲು ಇಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಇದರಲ್ಲೂ ಮದ್ರಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂತು.
His unparalleled erudition spanned diverse fields: Indian philosophy, computational linguistics, astronomy, Ayurveda, and even modern science.
He was the person who coined the term Indian knowledge systems, which is very much in vogue today.
Who had that holistic vision? And that is Professor M.A. Lakshmithathacharya. What an amount of knowledge he had, and that really baffled me and amazed me, and our interaction started.
He had the heart of an artist. He had the mind of a scientist, and anything that would come into the field of his vision would be seen through with a microscopic view. He would go to the basics of every aspect and analyze it and then say, this is what this is all about. That stood him in good stead, because though he was a traditional Sanskrit scholar, he could talk to persons from any field of knowledge.
He was a rare combination of the ancient and the modern. Many people who are very good in Shastraic knowledge have absolutely no knowledge of the modern technicalities and advancements. But Lakshmithathacharya was ahead of his times, and he utilized all those new techniques in propagating Indian philosophy and culture.
People would be flabbergasted when they listen to him discuss about several extremely contemporary fields like speech synthesis, speech recognition, natural language processing, encryption, etc. And he could trace the origins of all these to our traditional Sanskrit Shastras, including the Vedas.
He was an encyclopedia of knowledge and information. His ability to recall date, times, scripture, text, philosophical views, and statements was uncanny.
In 1977, he started the Academy of Sanskrit Research in Melukote. Swami's transformative vision brought barren lands to life.
When he became the reader, he wanted to start a new venture, that is the Academy of Sanskrit Research in Melkote. Melkote was his hometown. So that's why he wanted there a great research institute in that place, because as we say, it is Jnana Mantapam.
It so happens that the first thing that which we discovered was the whole activity of starting a Academy of Sanskrit Research in Melkote.
He was the person who established research school. In fact, he shared with me that I am thinking of establishing this by the prerana of Ramanuja himself. Blesses, his grace is there, it will go on. It happened like that. Contribution of in the founding, and he was responsible for the upbringing of that. The institute owes its existence to Thatharya only.
He established an institution that became a global hub for ancient Indian knowledge systems, which focused his work towards fundamental research, transdisciplinary and multidisciplinary research, and along with several outreach programs.
Gradually, step by step, Academy is growing. It's all due to his enthusiasm and his non-stop work in all these fundamental sources of music, of Sanskrit, of grammar, of everything. Because he had a versatile knowledge of all these things by himself.
The greatest contribution of the preservation and publication of various texts of Visishtadvaita. For that purpose, utilizing all his skills and time, he established the Samskrita Samshodhana Samsat that flourished for a long time and was able to encourage the research in Visishtadvaita philosophy.
He brought out many books which were edited and published from the Academy of Sanskrit Research.
My association, the greatest achievement for myself, say, is the bringing out of a seminal compendium called Mailcoat Through the Ages. It's a big volume. It covers all aspects of Mailcoat.
He took many great scholars to the academy like K.S. Vardacharya and S.M.S. Vardacharya and the grammarian Vardacharya.
Professor Lakshmithathacharya has opened up new avenues, new vistas, and I think the future is very bright for Bharat. And I'm very sure that this kind of schools must be supported and protect India's and Bharat's knowledge forever.
He studied in depth the details of what is known as traditional Indian horticulture based on words like Upavana Vinoda, etc. And he himself prepared a beautiful blueprint with regard to how a traditional Indian garden had to look like.
ಕೇರಳಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಔಷಧಿ ಗಿಡಗಳು ತಂದು ಒಂದು ಧನ್ವಂತರಿ ವನಾಂತರ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿ ರಿಸರ್ಚಲ್ಲಿ. ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಕೆಲಸ ಒಬ್ಬ ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತಾ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಯೋಚಿಸ್ಬೇಕು. ಅದು ಭ್ರಮಿಸಿ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ, ನಾವು ಆಶ್ಚರ್ಯ ಪಡಬೇಕಾದ ವಿಷಯ ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
Similarly, when we talk about animal husbandry and rearing of traditional breeds of Indian cows, and he achieved great heights in developing the purest of breeds and also upgrading the breeds of two important traditional breeds of cattle, namely Hallikar and Abarthi. In fact, he knew about all the breeds that were available in India, that were native to India, and he was instrumental and guiding force in our preparing a wonderful coffee table edition called Thatharya Vaibhavam.
Swami's contribution in preserving over 10,000 palm leaf manuscripts and developing groundbreaking software for language processing and manuscript preservation.
A software called Indian Knowledge Tree or Jnanashvatha. Ashvatha represents knowledge. So it is the Indian people tree or Jnanashvatha, which is written using Python software, and it is working for the last 2.5 years, exploring all the Indian knowledge systems belonging to different domains of science and technology and also arts and humanities.
ಬರೀ ಒಂದು ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ ಮಾತ್ರವೇ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅದರೊಳಗೆ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅವರು. ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ನೂ ಕಲ್ತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರು. ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಏನೇನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಕಲ್ತರು. ಎಂಥ ವಯಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ 50 ಆಗೋಗಿತ್ತು, ಆವಾಗ ಕಲ್ತರು ಎಲ್ಲದನ್ನು.
He mastered Sanskrit and Tamil, no doubt, but he himself self-studied computer science. His dream was to make Sanskrit as the basis of language of the computer.
Seamlessly blending ancient wisdom with modern innovation, he pioneered advancements in natural language processing, cryptographic systems, and eco-friendly technologies.
He himself was a TKDL, traditional knowledge digital encyclopedia almost, not just library. So that attracted me more and more we interacted in Melkote, in CFTRI and other places. The more important the topic became to protect the Bharatiya knowledge.
When he was asked to do natural language processing and when he was asked to do the parsing, he said, I will not use any Western concepts. Because when natural language processing is done even today, for example, when machine translation is done by Google or any other software, they look at the Indian languages from the window of English. That's what used to say. But it is not true. Sanskrit has its own unique grammar which is far surpassing the grammatical techniques of English and the Western languages. Grammar of Sanskrit can be applied to all Indian languages. So, if you prepare a parser for Sanskrit with minor customizations, the parser should work for all the Indian languages. That's what he used to say, and he showed to a large extent.
In 1999, Swami established the Samskriti Foundation in Mysore to promote Sanatana Dharma through modern platforms.
Samskriti Foundation is desirous of giving Indian knowledge systems in such a way which will be useful to all the people in this world in their day-to-day life. Not only it should give them some knowledge, it should also elevate them to a higher level of spirituality and consciousness.
In a world where heritage meets the horizon of tomorrow, Samskriti Foundation stands as a torchbearer of knowledge and timeless traditions. Rooted in the essence of Bharata's rich legacy, the foundation is a sanctuary where ancient wisdom converges with modern aspirations. Over 25 years, the foundation has nurtured a new generation of scholars, offering courses in Sanskrit, Indian philosophy, traditional agriculture, and many more.
During his life, he taught countless students. Swamiji would teach with endless patience, whether it was small children or the very brightest Sanskrit scholars in India. He taught Indian scholars as well as foreign scholars from all over the world. He was truly a genius, and his innovation and open-minded research will live on for decades to come.
ಭಾರತೀಯ ವಿದ್ಯೆ ಅಥವಾ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಎಜುಕೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ ಪಕ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದಟ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾರತೀಯ ವಿದ್ಯೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದ ಒಂದು ವಿಷಯ ಇದೆ. ಯಾವುದೇ ವಿದ್ಯೆಯನ್ನು ನೀವು ಅಭ್ಯಾಸ ಮಾಡಿದ ಪಕ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮೇಲೆ ಏನು ಪರಿಣಾಮ ಉಂಟು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ, ಅದು ನಿಜವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಭಾರತೀಯ ವಿದ್ಯೆ.
Swami's vision lives on through the foundation's groundbreaking research and educational initiatives.
This Samskriti Foundation, which is bringing in a lot of books, a lot of literature, a lot of workshops, a lot of training the youngsters, and many more have been really a great advantage to not only city of Mysore, but also to the entire state of Karnataka and to the entire Bharat. Thatharya had in store several schemes to perpetrate the Vishishtadvaitic school of philosophy. And in pursuance of that, he had planned a computer store of knowledge and the other literary works, and then the editing several works. One of the first traditional knowledge symposium was held in Melkote in 2001 in collaboration with the Central Food Technological Research Institute, Mysore, India. It was an open discussion of how our traditional knowledge is so important. When there was a turmeric patent, there was the basmati patent and so on, that India had to protect its knowledge. So therefore, some of us together with the then secretaries for the Government of India joined and made what is called as Traditional Knowledge Digital Library in CSR, New Delhi.
Samskriti Foundation is poised to contribute significantly to showcase the importance of our traditional knowledge in such a way that it can provide indigenous, sustainable, eco-friendly, cost-effective solutions in science and technology in relevant fields.
Swami's brilliance transcended boundaries. An accomplished musician, dramatist, and mentor.
He used to learn flute with one Deshikacharya. At home, he used to practice. So when he was practicing, my mother used to teach him more. It is not only in the field of education, not only in the field of scholarship, not only in the field of music, arts, and he used to do the drama also.
His roles in plays like Ramanuja earned him international acclaim.
பிரம்மவஸ்து கேவலம் ஞானமில்லை, அனந்தமான ஞானத்திற்கு இருப்பிடம். தியானம் பிரம்மவஸ்துவின் ஒரு லட்சணம்.
A devoted spiritual leader, Swami illuminated the profound philosophy of Vishishtadvaita through his teachings, while his restoration of Melukote's temple traditions reflected an unwavering commitment to cultural heritage.
This body is a boon as well as a bane for you. If you use it properly, you can get spiritual emancipation. If you don't use it properly, you can be in the transmigratory world forever. You will not get any spiritual emancipation.
His legacy stands as a beacon of wisdom, bridging tradition and modernity for generations to come.
It was possible for him to bring various scholars from nooks and corners of our country. And there were many assemblies which I also attended. There we did not have only the Sanskrit scholars, even great scientists like Dr. Raja Ramanna had attended these seminars.
ISRO wanted ancient science in India. We did it, taking all extracts from original texts. There the original text, Sanskrit shloka is there. Below that, the English commentary is there. And that was released in the International Conference of Science from Bangalore University.
ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದರಲ್ಲೂ ಒಂದು ಉತ್ಸಾಹ, ಒಂದು ಇದು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಸೈಂಟಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಆಸೆ ಇತ್ತು. ಆದರೆ ಈ ಆಚಾರ ವಿಚಾರ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದನ್ನು ಬಿಡದೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕೆ. ಮನೆಗೆ ಹಿರಿಯ ಮಗನಾಗಿ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ್ರಿಂದ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸಂಸಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಅದನ್ನು ನಿಭಾಯಿಸಿ ಮತ್ತು ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಬರೆದು ಇಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು ಒಂದು ನನಗನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ಒಂದು ಅದ್ಭುತ ಅನಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಕೆಲಸ ಒಬ್ಬರು ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯನಾ ಅಂತ.
Another extremely important contribution was to the field of encryption. When he was associated for many years with our former President Shri Abdul Kalam, discussions arose with regard to whether we can give a traditional encryption system, because the Indians at that time were following the RSA system, which was imported from the United States of America and which could easily be broken due to USA not providing proper information about this. Immediately, he hit upon the idea of adopting the Katapayadi system. It was given to the defense establishment, and it was found out that the defense establishment could not decrypt the messages. My father, revered Professor Lakshmithathacharya's system, was taken over by the defense establishment and it was directly adopted. They said it is a very robust level 2 encryption system. As a testimony to this fact, this photo is placed in the Central Hall of Parliament even today.
Enormous amount of research work has to be conducted with regard to these things. With regard to Tulsi, what they have stated, even after 2 years you can use Tulsi because it will not become stale. It will retain its all power, chemical properties and also medicinal properties. Whereas you cannot use jasmine next day, it becomes stale.
Swami's immense contributions have been recognized with numerous awards, including the prestigious President of India's Gold Medal for Navya Nyaya Vidwan and Sri Vaishnava Simham.
And including when the nutraceutical summit that was being held every year in Bangalore from 2000 to 2012, in one of them, Professor Lakshmithathacharya was given the Lifetime Achievement Award. That's a very high order award. And he chose to speak in Sanskrit. And I think that requires boldness. And the audience understood every word of it. You know why? Because his Sanskrit was so simplified that it was not at all difficult to understand. And therefore, here is a man who really knew how to communicate
Supported by his devoted family, Swami ensured that the values of Sri Vaishnavism were passed down to the future generations. Sri Ubaya Vedantacharya Lakshmithathacharya Swami's life was a bridge between tradition and modernity. Through his relentless dedication, he preserved the wisdom of our ancestors while adapting it for the future.
There is a saying that behind a very successful person, there is a woman who gives the necessary support. Extremely true as far as my mother, Srimati Goda, was concerned. In fact, she stood rock solid behind my revered father, and she would struggle all the 24 hours of the day to fulfill his aspirations. She was most generous, most condescending, most patient, and would never lose her temper even in the most adverse circumstances. Thus, she was an ideal housewife, ideal visionary who matched my father in all respect.
ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಗೋದ ನಾನು ಅವಳನ್ನ ಸೀತಾ ಮಾತೆ ಅಂತಲೇ ನೆನೆಸ್ಕೋತೀನಿ. ಅವಳ ಇದನ್ನು ಅಷ್ಟು ಒಂಥರ ಇದು ಸಹಧರ್ಮಿಣಿ ಆಗಿರಬೇಕು.
He and his wife, Goda, she was also interested in music. Both of them used to sing together. It was so good. And they used to sing the Divya Prabandhams with Raga.
Today, his legacy continues to inspire, reminding us of the timeless relevance of our cultural and spiritual heritage.
Thatharya was an active dynamo. Whole life has molded into bringing Sanskrit into the modern world in all its aspects, be it computer, be it studies, be it books.
May Thatharya Vaibhavam serve as a beacon, illuminating the path for generations to come.
Many a times I used to tell him, unfortunately, we are unable to carry forward your legacy in so many fields in which you have dabbled. We will be able to carry forward your dreams only in one or two areas. And I used to jokingly say, we cannot carry forward your legacy in agriculture, but we will do it as far as culture is concerned. His contributions to various fields, including fields like cooking, including fields like weaving, including fields like agriculture, horticulture, animal husbandry, computer science, behavioral sciences, and fundamental research into our own texts of Vedanta, Nyaya, Mimamsa, etc. So it is very difficult to say which all fields he worked with. But he never tired of these things. And many a times when we thought he used to be sleeping, he used to say, my mind will not rest even for a moment. Always I am thinking about some innovation or the other with which I can contribute to the world at large and with which humankind can benefit.
It's a great stride that we are all following, and such stalwarts for this nation. Many of them, not one, many of them, like Professor Lakshmithathacharya, are forgotten many times. But I'm extremely happy that Dr. M.A. Alvar, his son, is continuing the tradition. And sometimes I feel he is really following the footsteps of his father, trying to make it better.
In remembrance of this great man who left so much behind and who was such a blessing to his community, we can only bow our heads in reverence and be grateful for the great opportunity to have known such a saint in our life.
When I remember him, really all the good things that he did, all the things that he gave, the Marga Darshanam. So I feel I am happy to have such a great brother and guru and Neta, the hero.
ದೇವರ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದದಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ದು ಹೀಗೆ ನಡ್ಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋದರೆ ಸಾಕು. ದೇವರ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಕೊಡಲಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ. ಅವರ ಅನಂತ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದಗಳೊಂದಿಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದಗಳೊಂದಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ದೇವರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಬೇಡ್ಕೋತೀನಿ, ಅಷ್ಟೇ ನನ್ನ ಅನಿಸಿಕೆ.
शेषार्यवंशमणिदीपनिभं शठारिश्रीशैलसूरितनयम् इततत्पदाब्जम् शेषार्यवंशमणिदीपनिभं शठारिश्रीशैलसूरितनयम् इततत्पदाब्जम् तस्मादवाप्तनिगमान्तयुगं च लक्ष्मीताताभिधं गुरुवरं शरणं भजामि. सिंहश्रीमूलतारायां धरायां कलितोदयम् अनन्तार्यकुलोत्तंसं लक्ष्मीतातार्यमाश्रये.